And to culture wars, Donald Trump has had enough of the World Health Organization. He's freezing America's funding to it. That's more than $600 million a year, because it was so hopeless, so disastrously hopeless in fighting the coronavirus.
Today, I'm instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus. The delays the WHO experienced in declaring a public health emergency cost valuable time, tremendous amounts of time. More time was lost in the delay it took to get a team of international experts in to examine the outbreak, which we wanted to do, which they should have done.
It wasn't just the World Health Organization's incompetence, like declaring initially it believed China when it said that the virus didn't have human-to-human transmission. Remember also how it covered up for China. The World Health Organization's boss, a Marxist, actually praised China for how it handled the virus outbreak, despite China keeping it secret from the rest of the world for weeks.
And side by side, you have started serious public health measures. And this is very, very important, and really we're proud that. And the other important element is the political commitment and your personal leadership.
And remember also how this same boss of the World Health Organization criticised countries like Australia when they banned flights from China to stop the virus spreading, criticised them just like China did. What a coincidence. And remember this too. The World Health Organization bans Taiwan, the country that has fought this virus most successfully. They've had just 6 deaths there in Taiwan, even though people are not banned from shopping, not banned from going out, not even banned from going to restaurants and markets. But the World Health Organization bans Taiwan from being a member because China hates Taiwan for calling itself an independent country and for not agreeing to have China's dictator rule it too. But in Australia, the Morrison government says Australia will still keep funding this discredited World Health Organization.
Look, I sympathise with his criticisms. WHO also as an organisation does a lot of important work, including here in our own region in the Pacific, and we work closely with them. So, look, we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater here.
Joining me is Rowan Dean, editor of The Spectator Australia, author and host of Outsiders on Sky every Sunday. I never miss it. Rowan, what I don't get is that Australia is still happily handing the World Health Organization millions of dollars every year, even though the World Health Organization has now backed China's decision to reopen the so-called wet markets that are blamed for creating viruses just like this.
Yeah, well, Scott Morrison says don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but the bathwater is putrid in this particular instance, and the baby, one Dr. Tedros, Garib, you avoided pronouncing his name, Andrew, very cleverly. So
Tedros, he said, call me Tedros.
Tedros, his name is, yeah. So we'll call him Dr. Tedros, the boss of he's an Ethiopian Marxist. The World Health Organization have got form here. The previous boss, Margaret Chan, during the avian flu, she was running around saying, oh, it's okay, I eat chicken and stuff like this. China has basically owned the World Health Organization for some time now. Therefore, it's a discredited organization because it is not fit to purpose. It is not doing the job we paid for. Donald Trump is 100% right to say, you're not doing the job you paid for, so we're not paying you any more money. Now, someone else can do that job. I'm sure there are much more qualified people who can do that job. And it's too cute for Scott Morrison to say, oh, no, they're doing a great job here and there. No, they're not. Because you mentioned Taiwan, for example, Andrew. There was one interview with not Tedros, but his second in command back in February or March. It was an American interview. And they specifically
Hong Kong journalist.
They specifically asked this clown, what's Taiwan? Because as you mentioned, Taiwan has managed this virus brilliantly, very few deaths, economy booming, et cetera, et cetera. And this clown refused to answer the question and kept saying, no, I've talked about China. In other words, To him, China is Taiwan. So here we have a classic example, Andrew, yet another one. So they're opening the Wuhan wet markets. Oh, no problem there. Have all the live bat soup you can slurp up, go for it, enjoy yourselves. I mean, this is where the virus comes from. They're happy with that. They said they wouldn't even distinguish between China, which has gone feral with this virus, and Taiwan, which has controlled it. That is the single most important lesson that we in the West could possibly have had from the World Health Organization. Hang on, they should have said, here's what Taiwan's doing correctly, here's what China and other places are doing incorrectly. So West, you go and toddle along and do this. Instead, they did the complete opposite. Not only are they incompetent, they are liars and they are dishonest. And Scott Morrison, you should take every penny away from them. There are plenty of other organizations who would be just as capable of doing a much, much better and more honest job. And in being honest, they would save lives.
I just can't believe it, because Taiwan is the world's best model. It was 6 deaths for a country the size of ours in terms of population. It's just 6, and it maintains an open economy, hasn't run it, driven it into the ground. And the World Health Organization will not let it be a member because China doesn't like it. It criticised our flight bans to China because China didn't like it. It praised China, even though it did a bad job of it, because China wants to suck up to. On and on and on it goes. And again, now the World Health Organization supporting China from reopening those wet markets, like you say, suspected of fostering this bat virus. That's where it came from, they think, from the Wuhan market there. And our government still funds it, the World Health Organization, even though, have a listen to Josh Frydenberg now, even though Josh Frydenberg is horrified about the World Health Organization supporting this. Here he is.
It's unbelievable. It's extraordinary that the World Health Organization sees it fit for these wet markets to continue in China. They shouldn't. I mean, they've been the source of outbreaks that have killed people around the world.
That makes the World Health Organization a health menace, Rowan, and we are funding it.
I wish Josh Frydenberg could show as much outrage over the damage that the virus is now doing to our economy, which it now is. The same outrage that he's feeling there. Many small business people, many families around Australia tonight are sitting there absolutely outraged with tears in their eyes, trying to explain to their children why they do not have jobs, why the future, all the future plans they had for whatever it might be won't be happening because the economy is being driven into the ground, Andrew, as you mentioned earlier. Now we know, unnecessarily.
Well, that's absolutely correct, I think, in large part. I mean, some of the bans were necessary and they will hurt and we'll have to pay for them, and that's fine. But what's happening now defies belief.